Hey there, Bart. It's Courtney here to answer a handful of your questions. So let's get started. Let me get my questions out here. Who is Courtney? So, wow, starting off with the most difficult ones first, I guess. So who is Cortney? So that's me. I'm Cortney Nickerson. I guess you could say I'm a daughter and a sister, a wife, a mother, a friend, um, just your average run of the mill girl, I guess. I'm happy and laid back. I'm a lover of books, music, I don't know, good cinema, good food, especially if it's spicy, deep conversations, and life in general. Oh, and I'm also an animal lover and a coffee snob, maybe slightly, a little bit. I drink way too much coffee and caffeine, and definitely have my favorites and idea of what makes a good cup of Joe. Um, And yeah, oh, and I love sleeping in. I don't get to do it very often. I've got kids of random ages who don't let me sleep in, and a very fast paced job that I love. And a handful of hobbies that keep me busy. So I don't get to sleep in very often, but I am a huge fan of doing that. Question number two. What is my academic background? Okay, so my academic background, I went to university at Syracuse University. It's where I attended school. I actually had thought that I wanted to be a doctor, and so I went into a pre-med course. But took my first philosophy class and randomly got stuck in a religious studies course. My very first semester there, fell in love with both of those things, and transitioned into a triple degree of a political science, focusing mostly on international relations, um, and then added on philosophy and religious studies. So and have been asked perpetually since doing that, what in the world was I going to work in, and how did I think I was going to make a living with those degrees? But so far, it's all worked out for the best. Question number three. What is my professional background? Wow. So I guess my professional background spans quite a few different things. I've done everything from a work for and volunteer for a handful of political parties and politicians in my home country. Then I moved abroad and I've worked in marketing, in sales, in education, in teaching languages. I ran a small business that specialized in language summer camps for a very long time and travel abroad courses. I've also worked in the food industry, and that's where I got my start in the startup world and fell in love with it. And now I work in the tech industry. Started off in the world of DevSecOps in a startup in Spain, and have taken a leap into the world of developer advocacy in my new role with a company called CubeShop, which is a very interesting company. It's got a lot going on, very international. And so I guess um, all of my studies in international relations and philosophy and religion in a place with so many different people coming from diverse backgrounds is actually paying off. So that's me, my professional background in a nutshell. I've done marketing, sales, um, communication, teaching, a food prep, just about anything and everything, retail, just about anything and everything you can imagine. Question number four. When did you get involved in cloud native tech? Yeah, so cloud native tech is something that I just kind of took an interest in a few years ago when I was working for a cybersecurity startup. The tool that I was working with happened to be cloud friendly, and I had no idea what that meant. I needed to be able to understand it to be able to communicate about it. So I went down the rabbit hole of figuring out Kubernetes and how that works. And along the way, I met you, Bart. Um, and you were just starting off with the data on Kubernetes community. And I would say that the DOKC is probably where I got the most experience in the cloud native world. I got introduced to CNCF initiatives, gained a much deeper understanding of what was going on in the cloud native world, and then spent some time writing the newsletter and other things for the community. And meeting community members and asking questions that were very beginner questions, and I still have so many of those. But that's how I got started in cloud native, was participating in the data on Kubernetes community, because I had a curiosity from that kind of stemmed from the job that I was working in. Question number 5. What was your professional experience in the pandemic? Oh, very charged question here. So, like I said, I was working for a cybersecurity startup. My role was a remote role. So, on one hand, that was a huge advantage during the pandemic, because I continued to have a job, unlike quite a few of my friends in other industries. The tech industry never really stopped. People just moved from working in an office to working at home. Um, so huge advantage there in terms of being able to continue to develop as a professional, and continue to make a wage and make ends meet, for my family, obviously. That said, being totally transparent here, the downside to working through the pandemic as a mother of, at the time, an 18-month-old and a teenager who was just finishing secondary school, was very difficult because they were both home. Both of my kids were home, and I was working from home. My job continued to be just like always, and my work hours and demands continued to be just as high. And the demands of my kids, also continued to be just as high, and most of the time during working hours. So that was a difficult thing to find a balance, because my husband was also working. But in his case, outside of the house. So he continued to have to go to the office during that time. And so figuring out a work-life balance, during the pandemic was incredibly challenging, exhausting, and most of the time I did not sleep, in spite of me being a huge fan of sleeping in. Sleep was hard to come by, but I learned exponential amounts about myself, about the tech industry, and about the advantages of working in tech and being able to continue to network and function, right, during something like the pandemic, where other people in other industries really struggled to be able to move forward. Question number 6. And in comes Cube Shop to Life. Tell us about it. Cool. So shortly after the pandemic, the company I was working for, got acquired by Datadog, which was very exciting, considering that I think I was employee number 12 or something. And one of the first people on a team that wasn't a software engineer of any sort and didn't come from a technical background. So that was very exciting, to be involved in that type of acquisition and participate in it. But ultimately, I had to make a decision about what I was going to do professionally. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm addicted to the startup world. I absolutely love it. It's insanely fast paced, and there's so much going on, and you're always outside of your comfort zone. And for someone like myself, that has become a huge a huge excitement professionally and a way to grow. So I made the decision to finish out the project that I had with the company I was working with and finish out the acquisition process, and then started looking for other projects. And before I knew it, without even really looking too far, I came across CubeShop, and I'm now working as a developer advocate for them. CubeShop is a very cool company. It's the first of its kind tech accelerator in the world. And basically, what they do is they have come across 6 different projects currently that work in the Kubernetes space. They're creating different tools for developers, DevOps, GitOps, for just about anything that's going on in Kubernetes and anyone working in Kubernetes. There is a tool at CubeShop that is being accelerated with teams that are working on it. It's open source projects, and so it's been a fantastic opportunity to be involved in the open source community, to learn more about cloud native technologies, specifically Kubernetes, to talk to more people, and to learn exponential amounts. Obviously, my background is not a tech background, and so I'm still working on learning very publicly how to code. I've had the opportunity to deploy my first web app to a cluster in this role, and yeah, just absolutely love the atmosphere. It's a super international company. We've got people around the world speaking loads of different languages, bringing loads of different experiences into projects and project management and what's going on, and it's been incredibly enriching, and a very exciting ride so far. So I've been with CubeShop for about 6 months. We're heading to KubeCon soon. So if anyone listening is going to be at KubeCon, please come check us out. I am currently working on the Monocle project. So anyone who's looking to find out ways and figure out how to do their Kubernetes configuration tasks pre-deployment to ensure a higher quality deployment, please come talk to me. I'll happily give you a demo and give you some swag there at KubeCon. And if you're just interested in the Kubernetes open source space, please check out CubeShop. We've got really cool projects going on. Again, they're all open source, and people can contribute. And we're excited to grow our community of open source contributors and users for our tool, and just continue to learn more about what people need and try to make their lives easier and provide some business value as we go. And final question of the day. What's your advice to other folks with religious studies, philosophy, political science degrees, or anything else who might get into tech? I guess my biggest piece of advice is go for it. Literally, whether you know much about tech, whether you're a programmer, whether you're coming from a marketing background or sales, or you're a stay-at-home mom who is just trying to get back into the job a market and an industry, or even a student who's not really sure if school is right for you and you've got something else that you want to do and try. The tech industry is a place for everyone. There are opportunities for everyone. They're looking for different types of people from all over the world to bring in their experiences and diversify projects and find new ways to solve problems, and give tech a deeper meaning, and it's through the human experience that is done. So whether you are finished with a university degree and people are constantly asking you, like they were asking me, what are you going to do with philosophy or religious studies, or whether you're thinking maybe school's not for you, and university isn't the direction you want to go, or maybe you're on a career path that's doing something totally different, but you're burnt out, or you're just not happy there and you want to try something new. My biggest piece of advice for all of those situations is check out what's going on in tech. There are jobs for everyone. There's a space for everyone, and the more diverse we can make this industry, the better work we're all doing, and the better experiences we will all have to be able to grow and develop. So that's my advice for you. Go for it. Believe in yourself. If I can do it, anyone can. So that's it. Thanks so much for listening to me. I hope some of you will reach out. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Tech Talking Mom. That's because I'm either talking tech or being a mom. Or check me out on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Thanks. Bye bye.